One of the things I love about Montclair is that we've got people from all over the world. In my experience, there's no better way to get to know someone than eating the food that brings them home. So let's cook up special dishes with the people that make up the fabric of our campus.
So now at the lens, look at you.
Okay.
Hello, I am Dr. Jason Williams, Associate Professor of Justice Studies here at Montclair State University. I pursued criminal justice because I came up in a housing project. And living there, I was able to witness a lot of injustices. And so that's what catapulted me towards wanting to study law. In my undergraduate years, we did a lot of activism on campus, a lot of organizing, and we had these famous 2 food trucks that stood outside of NJCU. We frequented these trucks and they made the best Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwiches. And I cannot wait to taste how this turns out.
Okay, Jason, so what are we actually gonna cook today here?
Well, we're going to cook Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. The quintessential New Jersey Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich.
All right, so I'm gonna let you get away with calling it Taylor ham for a minute. I'm not so new to New Jersey that I don't know that you just opened a whole can of worms there with the Taylor ham reference. But I have another question first, which is, I'm not casting aspersions, but you definitely decided not to go the French chef, here route. Why did you decide we're cooking scrambled eggs?
I'm gonna put the disclaimer out. I do know how to cook.
I believe you.
I can burn in the kitchen, but I wanted to do a meal that I feel that those watching could easily relate to. For me, growing up, for one, I grew up in a housing project in Passaic, New Jersey, the Alfred Spear Village Housing Project, and so much about living in poverty is about eating what you can get your hands on. Yeah. And so I grew up in a household where we ate breakfast not only for breakfast, but for lunch sometimes, for dinner. But then also as a high school kid, this was our go-to sandwich. And then as I matriculated into college, this was my go-to sandwich again.
That's cool. I mean, look, it speaks to a broader point, which is food connects on so many levels. And people think of food as being about ethnicity or whatever, but it's also about your experience. And this speaks to your experience, so that's cool. Well, I appreciate you letting me in to experience it with you. So we'll jump in. What's step 1?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we'll start with the eggs first. Move this over here. First, we'll put some butter in the pan, probably about a little over a tablespoon, and we'll have that melt down just a little bit. Okay. Before we go ahead and throw in the eggs. And, I remember in college learning, it wasn't just us from the housing project that enjoyed this sandwich, but that, this was something people enjoyed across the racial ethnic spectrum.
Yeah. Eggs are about as universal as they come, I'd say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, when you're in college and you're looking for a quick bite to go, this is it. So we'll stir these up a little bit.
So you grew up in Passaic.
We grew up sort of learning about everyone's walk of life. That was, I think, very interesting. And of course, that culminated in high school. Yeah. And we had every opportunity to get out and mingle with others. So I think it made me a culturally attuned individual.
Yeah. What's nice is it was diverse, but you actually interacted with the full diversity of the folks there.
And you had to, I'm thinking about the different clubs, the different recreational activities. You had to. You couldn't run away from it.
You couldn't sort.
Yeah, you couldn't run away from it.
It's interesting. How did you end up on the pathway to becoming an esteemed professor at Montclair State University? Did you know that in high school that you wanted?
I didn't. In high school, I thought I'd be something in law enforcement, but one thing led to another, and I went to college and majored in criminal justice. And I thought that I would take that to law school, but I ended up staying for a graduate degree because they offered me a fellowship. And with the fellowship, I stayed there. I went and got my master's degree. Mm-hmm. And then one thing led to another, and I went to get my doctorate. Yeah. NJCU was a university that a lot of working class and working poor individuals attended. Sure. And they knew us. They knew our plight. They knew our capacity. And it was in that master's program that I really began to develop a love for research and advocacy, social justice advocacy through research.
Through research, right. All right, you're doing something here.
So now we are going to set this pan, get it ready.
Okay.
We apologize for the heavy smoke.
Yeah, we heated that up.
But we're going to throw in the Taylor ham.
All right. So let's dig in on the Taylor ham thing. So this is Taylor ham. The viewers at home, they're screaming, "That's pork roll!"
Yeah.
So explain to me, as a non-native New Jerseyan, what is the difference between Taylor ham and pork roll?
I think geography. To put it simply, you know, people up north tend to call it Taylor ham, and then I realized that folks from central New Jersey, and yes, central New Jersey exists, from central and southern New Jersey,
You're just covering all of the hot button issues here today. This is a controversial episode.
Yeah, and they tend to call it pork roll, but you know, it tastes the same to me. You can now throw them right on this bun here where we had already placed the egg.
All right. On the egg or on the bun?
On the egg.
Because that's probably a thing.
Yep.
More?
Yep, that's
all
good.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And then we're
pieces.
going to top it with a piece of cheese.
All right, let's go eat. Maybe we should have made 2 of them.
I think so. But you know, this
But we can share. It's about sharing. It's about friendship, right? All right, let's take a bite and I'll jump in there. I taste your history, Jason. You grew up in Passaic. It sounds like kind of a tough environment. So how does that connect with you ultimately going into criminology as your main area of research and teaching?
Living in a housing project, most housing projects around the country have tenant councils. And so as a kid, I shadowed the adults who attended the tenant council meeting, and they discuss and debated, sometimes aggressively, a myriad of issues that faces the complex. So whether it's, you know, food insecurity, whether it's, you know, building new playgrounds for the kids, rent, whatever you can think of, these things were discussed. And I think that played a role in me sort of developing a curiosity for government, politics, you know, activism and such.
Right.
And so that sort of followed me through my educational journey.
Yeah.
And I guess I landed on criminal justice because initially I wanted to be a criminal defense.
You said you wanted to be a lawyer. That's what you thought.
Exactly. Yep.
That's what you thought.
Yep. And so it just sort of naturally fit, I guess you could say, at my life course path. But yeah, I went to school. You know, you take 101,
right?
Criminal Justice 101. You take criminology, the theories, classes, and all of that. And I stuck with it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I got to really develop an affinity for activism. You know, whether it be issues on campus. I remember us holding some type of protest against the rising of tuition, but it was in that space, collecting with other students and faculty and staff who actually cared about us. That's where I learned that I should have a commitment, first of all, to social justice and advocacy, but how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and the various ways and how you can go about doing it.
So how do you think you're able to get some of our students who I think are interested in changing the world? So how are you able to sort of bring them along to say, hey, you know, you might be interested in doing a little bit of research yourself?
Yeah, certainly in our classes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, in Justice Studies, it's a rigorous program here at Montclair State University. We require them to write papers to show, you know, comprehension of being able to think analytically and so forth and so on. But a good amount of our students, they're interested in research. And so we have an internship class where you can either go and do a traditional internship or you can do a research internship.
Yeah.
I've worked with various students in the research internship arena where they've helped me with some of my own research. So whether it be research around people returning home from prison or research around community relations and policing, they have been there front and center with me and very hands-on. And then I'm also affiliated with the Family Sciences and Human Development program. So I've published with some of my doctoral students as well.
Which is great.
Yeah, and all of it is always, you know, anything that I work on is always gonna be community-centered and in efforts of furthering social justice.
So how do you bring along everybody?
I pretty much use like the same tactics, strategies that I've witnessed going through college myself. And it's foregrounded in the lived experiences of all your students.
Yeah.
You know, and I always remind them, yes, I'm gonna assign you a textbook, I'm gonna assign you articles and such, but your lived experiences is the sort of hidden textbook of the classroom.
Right.
And that's what I use to bring them together.
Yeah.
And to sort of bring about understanding and empathy. It works. Yeah, the vicarious sort of experience, right? Like, okay, I may be an African American who lives in Paramus, New Jersey, you know, and this is a area where we don't typically think that, right, police malpractice is happening.
Right.
But because I am African American, I can again relate to some of the issues that might be happening in, let's say, North New Jersey or Camden. What makes me most proud about this is that I'm able to see how students who may not relate at all are able to now suddenly develop empathy and understanding.
No, I think when I think about a lot of the challenges we have as a society, I sort of wish if we could just get more people hanging out on a campus.
Yes.
Even for a little while, you're in a place where it's possible to have that discourse. It's possible to find the empathy. It's a really powerful thing.
That's what's been great about my experience here at Montclair State is that I've been able to engage those types of conversations, you know, not only with my students and obviously with colleagues, but with the community, you know, being able to foreground these conversations with the community and in the community. And that's very important, bridging those sort of gaps and building new publics of understanding.
Yeah, well, that's powerful. Yeah, I just had an idea. You know, you might be able to bring together the pork roll and the Taylor ham people and solve one of New Jersey's great divides.
I hope so.
All right, Jason, this was really fun. Thank you
Yes,
for
it was.
thank you